The Education Administration Subcommittee is now in session. Members, any personal items? I have one. I am so glad to have three folks from Gallatin Electric here. And I appreciate all the work that you did during the recent storm and the way that you kept the lights on for the folks in Gallatin. I'm happy to introduce to everyone Mark Kimball, if you'd stand up. And then Brandon Heston, if you join him. And then Jerica Trout. Thank you so much for being here today. All right, members, we have several changes or notes for the calendar today, and so I'll go through these so that you can adjust. Log in, if you would, please, and then we need to take the roll. Mr. Clerk, if you'll open for the roll, please. All right, Mr. Clerk, if you'll take the roll.
Mr. Chairman, you have 6 members present. You have a quorum.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. All right, now item number 1, House Bill 1818 has been rolled 1 week without objection. Item number 2, House Bill 1998 is rolled to the final calendar without objection. Item number 3, House Bill 1507 is taken off notice. Item number 5, House Bill 1550 rolled 1 week without objection. And then item number 7, House Bill 1732 rolled 2 weeks without objection. And then, members, if you'd note that we will be adding House Bill 1288 by Representative Powell. And that was, that's okay. We'll take him up a little bit later, but that was added back to the calendar last night on the floor session. And we'll take up that bill. He has another one in about spot number 7 today. Now, that being said, that brings us to item number 4, House Bill 1849 by Representative Butler. And I don't see Representative Butler, so we will roll that until we see him, all right? That brings us to item number 6, House Bill 1725 by Representative Mayberry. Properly motioned, properly seconded, and Representative Mayberry, you can explain your bill. I don't see any amendments. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yeah.
Representative Mayberry,
Thank you,
you're
Chairman.
recognized.
This bill, it's very much going to impact Montgomery County specifically, but if it's military and related, it's going to be across the state. But when someone currently right now, PCSs, comes into an area for military orders, they had to enroll to the district of the school in which they go to. As a school board member over the years, I've seen this time and time again that someone may enroll into your district, but then they may move yet again shortly after that because they're building a house or they're in temporary housing before they get to their ultimate house. But to get into school, they had to enroll into the school in which they are residing at that moment. This bill is going to help alleviate that, where they can now come in and they'll have a year. If they know they're going to be ultimately at a certain school within that district, they can go ahead and just enroll in that school, and they have a year to prove that. So that's what this bill does.
Okay, thank you for that explanation. Members, questions? Chairman Sapicki.
Thank you. And I like your bill. I just got a couple of questions for you from speaking with the Department of Defense. So in Section C, it talks about that the parents have a year from the date on which the service member reported to prove that they're supposed to be there. But unable to be there, they have to receive orders. Those orders come before they move. Why would we give a year to present the orders that put them in the district to begin with? I get the 60 days, right? That seems fair. But from talking to the military, they can't transfer anywhere without the orders that preempt that. So why are we giving them a year to provide the orders? Why couldn't we just say within 60 days of showing up, you have to provide the orders that said you have to be in Montgomery County or wherever it is?
You recognize, sponsor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. That's something we can definitely address if that is an oversight. This is the language that the Department of Defense, they reached out to me during the summer and asked for this to be ran. They actually said that Tennessee is rated red in this area, military friendliness. We're trying to get over to green. And so this was one of the areas, but this is the language they provided for us. And if there is some issues there, we can definitely address it.
Chairman Sapicki?
And I don't want to hold the bill up, Mr. Chairman, at all, because I'm going to support the bill. But if we shorten that time period up, would you consider that a friendly amendment in full committee?
Sponsor?
It would definitely with me. I would definitely maybe love to loop you into the person that reached out to me initially. So maybe there's something that you or I are not considering at this moment.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you, Chairman.
Other members, questions? Representative Reedy?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And of course, you're representing part of the district that I used to have. And of course, the way I'm reading the bill, it says within 1 year from the date on which the service member reported for duty. So it's already, they got their orders, they're reported. And an example of that, because sometimes the Fort Campbell, the school system there, a student will be there, but if their parents have to move off of post, then they have to move it into the Montgomery County school system. But then that's also correct, is a lot of times when you show up for a military duty assignment, you find the first available. And then at that time, you try to figure out it's exactly what part of Montgomery County, which is quite large. You know, what is it, 220, 250,000 people now. So it's a quite large county as well as a large school system. But I let you know, I do support the bill. I understand what you're trying to do. Thank you.
Representative?
Yeah, that's exactly correct. So they'll come to the areas a lot of times, happens, I mean, quite a bit. Representative Glenn probably has contested this as well from his constituents, but they'll move into an area. They may live somewhere temporarily and then move it yet again. And what we're trying to do is not move children around so much because they're already moving around so much in the military. I've seen that time and time again. And so we're trying to break that down a little bit for them.
Thank you. Follow up? All right. Representative Reedy. Or no, I'm sorry, Representative Glenn. I'm looking right at you and calling you the wrong name. There you go. Did you have a question? Or, yeah. Oh, you did. All right. Chairman White has a question. Go ahead.
Well, thank you. You mentioned that the Department of Defense brought this to you. I also support the bill. I think it's a great bill. But did they give you examples of where we're falling through the cracks on this, like with parents, students? Is this a major problem, which I understand, but they give you examples of why this needs to be done?
Representative Mayberry.
Well, so as we talked, immediately I knew, just as a school board member and a member of the community, my entire life, I definitely have seen this time and time again. If it's from kids in my church or on the school board, I've gotten a lot of calls as a school board member about this in particular, where they're moving in, they're having to move again because we're pretty strict that unless you're in an academy or something within Clarksville Montgomery County schools, you're going to say you're going to temporarily move to Clarksville High School zone and you have to enroll there because that's where you are located, that's your address, and then say you end up moving down the street and now you're in the Rossview zone. Well, then you're going to move again. And so they brought it to our attention, or to my attention, that in Tennessee, we don't have this resolved. In a lot of other states, they do. And so we're trying to just align that to best practices.
Chairman White.
So thank you. And I guess all we got to do is figure out Chairman Sapicki's, what he brought up. Should we look at other states? If they're doing this, maybe figure out what in the world's going on there. So anyway, good bill.
All right. Any other questions? All right. It looks like we are ready to vote. Mr. Clerk, if you would open the board for voting. Members, please cast your vote. All right, Mr. Clerk, if you take the vote, please.
Mr. Chairman, you have 6 ayes, 0 nays.
All right, moves out to full education. Thank you so
Chairman,
much.
Committee.
All right, that brings us to item number 8 by Representative Powell. Now you might be able to go out and get Representative Powell. Well, let's see. let's go to, yes, we'll roll that to the heel, and we'll go to Chairman Sapicki. Item number 9, House Bill 1466. Properly motion, properly second, and you're recognized on your bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This bill does not contain any amendments, so it is what the language is. House Bill 1466 deals with the presidential physical fitness test. It requires each local education agency and public charter school to administer the presidential physical fitness test to students to assess strength, endurance, and flexibility. Requires LEAs and public charter schools to provide reasonable and appropriate accommodations for those students with individualized education programs under the IDEA Section 504 plan, under the Rehabilitation Act of 1973, and exempts such students from the presidential physical fitness test if they cannot safely participate with or without accommodations. It also requires the Department of Education to provide immediate written notice to each LEA and public charter school if the presidential physical fitness authorization is revoked on or after the effective date of this act. That's what the bill does. I believe we have someone from the governor's office who wishes to testify real quick.
I think they only needed 2 if it was requested,
So I'm assuming that the governor's office is on board with the presidential physical fitness test, and there's your thumbs up, Mr. Chairman.
All right.
I'll be happy to answer questions.
There we go. Any questions for the sponsor? Thank you for that explanation. The question has been called by Chairman Reedy. And so, Mr. Clerk, if you'd open the board for voting, please. All those in favor vote aye. Those opposed, no. Mr. Clerk, please take the vote.
Mr. Chairman, you have 6 ayes, no nays.
House Bill 1466 moves on to education, full education. We'll come back to item number 10 now that Representative Powell is here, and that brings us to, you've got 2 bills today. We're going to go to item number 8, House Bill 2003. And
Mr. Chairman, if I could, I'd like to roll that bill 2 weeks. I've been talking to the administration, and some of this information is already provided, so we're working on some amendment language. So if I could roll that one 2 weeks and come to 1288.
all right, very good. Without objection, roll House Bill 2003 2 weeks. All right. That brings us to, and let me get, that brings us to House Bill 1288. I have it properly motioned, properly seconded, and we're ready to hear you on your bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I have actually 2 amendments. I'm at the will of the committee. One is timely filed. I got a fiscal note back. So I had a meeting earlier today with fiscal and worked out some language that clearly captures my intent. And so there's actually an untimely filed amendment. It just removes the words as appropriated by the Tennessee or the General Assembly. But I'm at the will of the committee. That's all that amendment does. I know this is my 3rd calendar, so I was hoping to, I can either attach the timely amendment and then bring the untimely next committee, whatever this committee chooses.
So as far as the untimely filed amendment, we'll not take that up today, but we do have a timely filed amendment, which is, I have 011980. Is that what you're looking at?
That's right, Mr. Chairman.
All right. Do I have a motion on amendment properly motioned, properly seconded? And all those in favor of adding amendment 011980 to the bill, say aye. All those opposed? The ayes have it. It has been added to your bill. And so does that rewrite the bill? I probably should ask that.
It does, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So this rewrites the bill. So go ahead, and if you'll explain the amendment to us.
Sure.
please.
So the bill, as it's currently written, creates a clear lawful framework to help schools restore a safe, secure, and supportive learning environment following the most extreme circumstances a school can face, which is the death of a student due to firearm-related incident on school grounds. The amendment strengthens the structure to clarify the bill is about expanding eligibility without expanding eligibility, mandating spending, or prescribing specific uses. The amendment clarifies the purpose of the fund is supporting a safe, secure, and supportive learning environment after firearm-related death, emphasizes continuity of learning in school reentry following trauma, to provide the department flexibility to respond based on the uniqueness of each school, and allows for an expedited, responsive administrative approach when it matters most. It does not appropriate funds, and I'll make sure to clarify that with the amendment if this moves forward. And doesn't create a fits all for our schools. We're just want to make sure that our schools, I've encountered this with Antioch High School in my district, as I described last time I was before this body, that they are open left with a clear mechanism to address trauma, disruption, and learning continuity following the death of a student by a firearm. So with that, open for questions.
All right, thank you for that explanation. Chairman Sapicki, question for the
Thank you,
sponsor?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So just for clarification, this is creating a fund that'll still be administered by the state treasurer, right? But if this passes today, your hope is in full committee, you'll put an amendment on that takes out the appropriation from the General Assembly. Is that what I understand?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right, any other questions for the sponsor? All right, seeing none, we are ready to vote on House Bill 1288. Mr. Clerk, if you'd open the board for voting. Mr. Clerk, please take the vote.
Mr. Chairman, you have 6 ayes, no nays.
House Bill 1288 moves on to full education.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members.
All right, that brings us back to item number 10 by Chairman Sapicki, House Bill 1866. Do I have a motion? Motion properly seconded, and Chairman Sapicki, you are ready to explain your bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Members, this is going to be a little bit lengthy because the bill does do a lot, and we do have people here to testify on it to provide more context and background on this. So this is what House Bill 1886 is trying to accomplish. It revises internet acceptable use policy requirements for local education agencies and expands such requirements to apply to public charter schools. Requires each LEA and public charter school to review its policy at least twice a year and update as needed. Expands requirements for providers of digital or online instructional materials to apply to materials marketed for pre-kindergarten, pre-K through 12, and contracts with public charter schools, and requires providers to block access through the provided materials to certain content. Requires public charter schools, in addition to LEAs and state agencies that contract with a third party for the provision of such materials, to establish a process for a person to file a complaint with the entity that is alleged to be using prohibited material. It also authorizes an LEA or public charter school to create email addresses for students in pre-K through 5 for identification purposes, but prohibits allowing those students to use the address to send or receive emails. Requires each local board of education and public charter school governing body to maintain an annual third-party audit of compliance with the Internet Acceptable Use Policy. Allows use of a qualifying E-rate audit to satisfy this requirement, and requires audit results to be published on the LEA or public charter school's website, and requires parent or guardian notification when a student under 18 accesses a website using school-provided internet in violation of the policy. Provides that such provisions do not impair contracts or agreements entered into before July 1st of 2026. Now, Mr. Chairman, there's an untimely filed amendment that if this bill does make it out of this committee, I will file in the full committee. And the reason what the amendment does, it extends the implementation date to the 27-28 school year to give everybody more time and to better access on how to implement this strategy. So I'll be happy to answer questions.
Thank you for that explanation. And we do have some folks that would like to speak on this bill. And I'd like to ask these individuals to come up and take a seat at any one of the seats there. And if you'll come up at the same time, Dr. Nidhi Gupta, and did I pronounce that correctly? All right. And Ellie Benson, and then Stacy Jagger. All right, ladies. And you have some buttons that identify, I think you're all with the same group. Is that correct? Is there a spokesperson for the group, or would each? Okay. So let's start with Ellie Benson. Is that correct?
Correct.
And if you'll state your name for the record, and then go ahead, and we'll go out of session. You have take just about a minute or two each, I think, and then we'll have opportunity for members to ask questions. Okay.
I'm Cheryl L. Benson. Thank you, Chairman and the committee, for this opportunity to testify today. I'm here as a concerned parent of a public school student. Last spring, I received a call from another parent notifying mental harm of their child based on what my child was accessing at school. Quite alarming and unsure of what was happening. I was able to access my child's browser history and found that my third grader for over a month was accessing inappropriate content on her school device at school time on a school Wi-Fi. This was unacceptable. I reached out to the school, who put me in charge with the technology department. After weeks, they still said this content was appropriate. That word appropriate did not sit well with me. She watched murder videos, including videos saying, "You'll never sleep again," "Zombies eat babies," and scariest videos on the internet. As an advocate for children, I began listening to other parents and hearing what their experiences were. My child's experience is not alone. I also found a family at my same school, third grader, who received nude photos in her email from another student and was solicited for photos through her school email. These stories are not in isolation. It is across the state, and it is time now to ensure that our children are safe online and on the internet. The internet was not designed for children, but policies need to be.
Thank you. Thank you. Let's see, Ms. Jagger, did you want to make a statement?
Sure.
Oh, was there, all right.
Yes, thank you for giving voice to the mental health and safety of Tennessee's children. I'm here in support of Senate Bill 1912 and House Bill 1886, which strengthen internet safety and acceptable use protections for students in our public schools. My name is Dr. Stacy Jagger. I'm a licensed family therapist and a mother of 4. During my 15 years in the mental health field, I've conducted thousands of clinical sessions with children and families. Most of the children I work with simply call me Dr. Sassy. I'd like to briefly share a story about an 8-year-old girl who came into my office carrying a burden far beyond her age. Through gentle play and conversation, we discovered she had been interacting online with an adult without her parents' knowledge and had been exposed to sexual and violent material her developing brain simply could not understand. Her nervous system was overwhelmed and her sense of safety was gone. With support, loving parents, and clear digital guardrails at home, she recovered. But I cannot personally reach every child who needs protection. This is where you come in. We must protect the children who are too young and innocent to protect themselves. National research shows children ages 8 to 12 often spend 4 to 6 hours every single day on recreational screens. The American Academy of Pediatrics reminds us that children grow best through human connection, eye contact, storytelling, movement, and imaginative play. I believe this legislation is a meaningful step forward for Tennessee. It creates practical guardrails so children do not have to grow up too soon. Childhood innocence is not incidental, it is sacred, and it's time limited. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Jagger. And then Dr. Gupta.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, members of the committee. Despite clear evidence that educational technology, or EdTech, is neither safe nor effective, if schools insist that children must learn online, they must guarantee that those spaces are safe. I'm Dr. Nidhi Gupta. I'm a pediatrician, screen time researcher, author, speaker, and mother. I would like to briefly address 4 key questions that might arise while voting on this bill. Question number 1. Is this problem real, or are we overreacting? The problem is real, and it is happening on school-issued devices during school hours and after hours. And I'm seeing the consequences firsthand in my patients. An 11-year-old used Google Classroom on a school laptop to secretly chat with an adult, share photos, and planned a meeting. A 10-year-old encountered graphic sexual content on a school device, carried fear and guilt for years before she developed anxiety and depression. A 9-year-old was cyberbullied, not on social media, but through school email threads. These cases are not rare. In a survey of 1,358 students, 41% reported seeing pornography during the school day, nearly half on school-issued devices. Question number 2, isn't EdTech supposed to be educational? Well, that was the intention, but evidence does not support the outcome. We now know from large-scale research that there is limited to no academic benefit from most EdTech tools. Instead, many platforms are exposing children to harmful content, distracting them from learning, and collecting their data for monetization. Question number 3, don't we already have safety guardrails? Yes, but they are outdated and ineffective. Most schools' filters rely on blacklisting, which means blocking the content after the harm has already occurred. This bill improves safety by requiring whitelisting, which means proactively allowing only approved educational content on school devices from the very beginning. Last question. Shouldn't students learn self-control and responsible internet use? Yes, eventually, but not now. A young child's brain's self-control center is not fully matured until mid-20s. Expecting elementary school kids to resist the addictive technology is neurologically impossible. So let me summarize. Despite the clear evidence that EdTech tools are neither safe nor effective, if schools still require children to learn online, they must first guarantee that those spaces are safe. House Bill 1886 does not ban EdTech. It simply sets reasonable age-appropriate protections. I urge this committee to vote yes on the bill because our children deserve the same protection online that we demand offline. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Gupta, and thank you to each of you. Members, any questions for our guests? Chairman White?
Thank you. I want to make sure, is it L? And the last name, I'm sorry? Benson. I may have misunderstood you, but I want to get clarity. When you were speaking, you said that you got a call from the school.
Mm-mm.
No.
From a fellow parent.
You got from a fellow parent that the third grader was sharing inappropriate information. But then when you went to the IT department at the school, they said
They found it to be appropriate.
what she was sharing?
Mm-hmm.
Fascinating.
All right. Any other questions for our guest? Thank you so much for taking time to come in and testifying for us. And appreciate your interest in this and your engagement in the legislative process. All right. We're now back in session. And members, any questions for our sponsor? All right. Seeing none, Mr. Clerk, if you'd open the board for voting, please. Members, please cast your vote. Mr. Clerk, please take the vote.
Mr. Chairman, you have 6 ayes, no nays.
All right. House Bill 1886 moves on to full education. That brings us to the heel of our calendar and item number 4, House Bill 1849 by Representative Butler. Do I have a motion? Properly motioned, properly seconded, and Representative Butler, we're ready to hear you on your bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and committee. This bill is permissive. Of course, I do want to point that out. First thing, this allows for elected school superintendents. And to clarify that and try to address some of the questions, the school superintendent would have the same function that they do now as far as how the school system is run. The school board would remain with its same function that it has, with the exception of hiring the school superintendent. So from an operational standpoint, the school system would still operate as it is now. There is some language in the bill that would prevent a county commission from voting this into place and a current school superintendent being terminated in the middle of their contract unless they bought it out. So that is outlined in the bill. This allows the county commission, if they so chose, to have an elected superintendent to vote that in and then follow the guidelines of the bill to implement that. And with that, Mr. Chairman, I'll renew my motion and be glad to answer any questions.
Thank you, Representative Butler. Questions from members? Chairman Sapicki.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just kind of unpack a couple things here. When we say elected superintendent, the people of the district are not electing this. In your bill, the county commission is electing the superintendent. Is that correct?
Sponsor, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. No, that's not correct. The county commission is voting whether to have an elected superintendent. I thank you for that question, because that allows me to clarify that. The citizens of the county, the taxpayers, the parents of the students would be electing that superintendent. So excellent question. Follow.
Chairman.
So just to clarify, if the county commission decides that, yes, they want to go ahead and have an elected superintendent by the people of that district, county, whatever it is, right? Then they take a vote, I assume.
Yes.
Is it a simple majority or is it a 2/3 vote? And then can they go back later on and reverse it?
You're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It would be a simple majority in this case. And once they've implemented this, they don't have the option to go back. Not to say that couldn't be put in the bill, but at this point, it's not in the bill to reverse that. Now, this allows the best of both worlds. Currently, they're hired by the school system. So if a school system wants to continue to hire by the school board, they can do that. If you want to have the elected superintendent, then you could have that. So this allows the best of both worlds.
Follow up.
And so if we have an elected superintendent, the dichotomy right now is we elect the school board members and they hire the director of the schools, superintendent. If a county goes ahead and says, we want to have an elected superintendent, and the county elects a superintendent and they elect the school board, who runs the district?
Sponsor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It's no different than the state of Tennessee. We have an elected governor, elected General Assembly, county commission. We have elected county commissioners and elected county mayor or executive, depending on what you're called. So it'd be structured the same way. We're essentially, with an elected superintendent, mimicking the structure of the government that we already have in place. And so the superintendent in this case would be the governor, and the General Assembly would be the school board, obviously on a much smaller scale. It would be run the same way. That's the reason that the superintendent maintains the same job function. Historically, years ago, when there was elected superintendent, it was structured different. Now the superintendent maintains the same ability, hiring, firing, et cetera, that they do now. They're just elected.
Okay. Any other questions? Chairman White, you're recognized.
And you may have said this, who sets the superintendent's salary? Right now, the school board would.
You're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I don't have that specifically addressed in the bill. I think the school board would still have the authority, because I didn't address that would not be done. They would still have the ability to set that salary. They just wouldn't be doing the hiring.
Okay. We've had this type of legislation a lot of years before us and everything. My concern has always been and I've seen negative and positive on both sides, really.
Fair enough.
But if you have an elected superintendent, usually the election's like in August, like when the school boards are. And so you have a person running for office those 3 months, and June, July, and August is critical to get ready for the school. And I just wonder how communities that would have an elected superintendent would deal with the get ready.
You're recognized.
We of course run those same elections in the same time we're doing that. I guess it would just depend on the person's ability. And if I may use Shelby County as an example, the school system hired a superintendent over there, and she was doing a good job. And from what I understand, cut $6 or $7 million out of the budget. And not long after that was terminated through the school board. Had that been an elected superintendent, they would not have been able to do that.
Yeah. That wasn't a good example, though. I understand what you're saying. Yeah, go ahead.
Any other members have any questions for our sponsor? All right, seeing none, Mr. Clerk, if you'd open the board for voting, please. Mr. Clerk, please take the vote.
Mr. Chairman, you have 3 ayes, 2 nays.
And House Bill 1849 moves on to full education. All right, members.
Thank you, committee.
Members, that brings us to the conclusion of our calendar, and we plowed through pretty quickly today with several bills. Any other further business? Seeing none, we are adjourned.